Hello everyone, the new year is getting closer and closer to us, so today will be our annual column in which we prepare the most expensive New Year's table. Well, let's go. We are going to the most expensive supermarket in our city. We take a box of the most expensive cherry tomatoes, a lot of different greens, 2 packages of the most expensive potatoes, chili peppers. We collect 4 types of different nuts. We also have Brazil nuts, cashews, macadamia nuts, and pecans. We take dried cranberries, dried apricots, raisins, and dried strawberries, fresh viburnum berries, oranges, lemons. We also get some clementine, which is a hybrid of tangerine, orange, and grapefruit, 1 pomelo, 6 avocados, bell pepper, orange chips, 6 bottles of expensive natural pomegranate juice, boiled octopus tentacles, oyster sauce, soy sauce, apricots in a jar, French mustard. From the salt chamber in which the marbled beef is aged, we get 2 cuts on the bones, and we put them into the cart. We also collect many different spices, such as cinnamon, cardamom, star anise, and cloves. We take the most expensive frozen squid, 2 packs of scallops, tiger prawns, several chunks of burrata, a piece of Parmesan cheese, the most expensive Japanese mayonnaise, a tray of eggs, expensive butter, heavy cream, brown sugar, the most expensive white truffle, cheese ciabatta, expensive cognac, and 6 bottles of red wine. With a full cart of groceries, we go to the checkout. Our check came out to roughly $1,000, but if you look at the thought that these are all the products that we bought, then you are very much mistaken. Even on the internet, we ordered such a box, inside of which there are projects worth $800. So here we have a can of crab meat, also 100 grams of snail caviar. I only recently found out about its existence. And the most expensive is a live Kamchatka crab weighing about 5 kilograms. In total, we bought products that round out to about $1,600. This is the most expensive purchase we made for one video. Therefore, only for this, it is worth going down and putting your like. And the first thing we will cook is 2 huge meat cuts. The meat here is very marbled. Using a knife, we make incisions between the ribs. And with the second piece, we do the exact same thing. We did this so that the pieces could curl up into such a meat crown. And to fix them into this state, we take a strong thread and a knitting hook. We punch a piece of meat through them, grab the thread with the hook, and pull it out from the other side. We repeat the same thing with the second edge of the crown. We tighten it all up well, and now the meat crown holds. We make 2 such crowns. The first one will be cooked on the grill, so we put some dry fuel tablets inside, set them on fire, put a bowl on top for ignition, and fill it with coals. As soon as they are well heated, pour them into the grill. Distribute them all over. Put a direct heat separator on top, pour out some chips into it, and they'll give it a little bit of like a smoke smell. And we also install a grid. Now we just have to thoroughly salt the meat from all sides. And pepper. We put the meat crown in the grill, cover it with a lid, and let it gradually cook, soaking in the aroma of smoke. As for the second crown, we pour a lot of salt into a glass of water. Mix it well so that it dissolves. We transfer the meat onto a baking sheet, and we open up the salty solution to a syringe, and simply just syringe the meat. Thus, it will be salted inside as quickly as possible. Now it's time to send it to the oven. The grilled meat has been cooking for about 2 hours, so you need to check its temperature. It's 75 degrees inside, so the meat is ready. And after about an hour and a half, we check the meat in the oven. And yep, it's cooked too. For a beautiful crust, I pour a delicious barbecue sauce into a bowl. And using a brush, apply it to the meat. Put it back into the oven until a nice crust appears. Now you just need to put it onto a beautiful tray. And our New Year's table meat is ready. For the next plate, you need to open a can of crab meat. With a fork, we take out the fillets and put them into a bowl. With our hands, we take out the bones from the crab meat. They look more like pieces of plastic. We also need 3 avocados. Make an incision in the circle. And divide the halves. Remove the pit. And take out the pulp with a tablespoon. Next, we cut our ripe avocado into cubes. And put them into a bowl. We're going to squeeze out some super expensive Japanese mayonnaise from above and knead it all together. Now our filling is ready. So we take our ciabatta and cut it in half. We put the frying pan on the stove and sprinkle it with oil. We put the ciabatta halves on, wait until they're golden brown, and put them onto the plate. Then we put on some crab filling on top. And spread it around. Now take some red cherry tomatoes and cut them into 4 parts. Now we spread those out beautifully. Now it's time for the snail caviar. It's interesting to find out what it'll taste like. Spread that onto the crab and avocado mix. Decorate the top with some microgreens when the bruschetta with crab is ready. Now it's time for the side dishes. Wrap each potato in foil and put them onto a baking sheet. We filled the entire baking sheet with potatoes, and so we set it into the oven for a couple of hours at 180 degrees. In the meantime, we take an onion and peel it. Make incisions in it. And dice it finely. We take the onion to fry in a frying pan and just wait until it's golden brown. Now we grate in some Parmesan cheese. And we open up the most expensive white truffle. It looks really strange. Then we grate it onto a fine grater. When the potatoes are baked and cooled, we open them up and remove the peel. We put the clean potatoes into a bowl and clean them until it runs out. Potatoes need to be mashed now. Due to the fact that these are baked, not boiled, the starch should not go into the water but remain in the potatoes themselves, so the consistency of the puree will be more dense. Pour grated Parmesan and truffle in. Also add pepper and salt. Mix it all up thoroughly. We take 3 plates, fill the first with flour, break 4 eggs into the second, and mix. Now for the third one, we use breadcrumbs. We take a little bit of this puree and form such a barrel in our hands. We roll it around in the flour, then dip it into the egg wash, and bread it with our breadcrumbs. We form our breaded barrels until all of the mashed potatoes are finished. We're left with a full baking sheet. Put the pan onto the stove and pour a couple of bottles of oil into it. And we deep fry our potato croquettes. After a couple of minutes, we take them out and put them onto a paper towel. We repeat the same thing with the remaining croquettes. We serve these on a wooden platter in the form of a tower. It turned out really beautifully. But you know what? Only now I noticed that I forgot to add fried onions to our mashed potatoes. In general, be careful and your croquettes will be even tastier. Next in line is a salad. We need the apricots in a jar and heavy cream. First, pour the cream into a container and simply whip it with a mixer. Done. We open up the apricots and drain out all the unnecessary fluid. We transfer this to a measuring cup and, already dipping with a blender, grind the apricots into a puree state. Gradually add the whipped cream and mix. A little more cream. And we're left with an apricot mousse. But now it's a really sweet thing. So we squeeze out the American mustard and mix it up too. It tastes like an awesome salad dressing. And to make it clear that the sauce is apricot, we will also add orange dye. Done. Pour the sauce onto the bottom of the salad bowl. Distribute it out with a spoon. Then we'll take some burrata and spread it out on top. There's quite a lot of arugula on the side. We also take some sweet cherry tomatoes and slice them up. Now you just need to put that on top of the arugula. And pour over some balsamic vinegar. We've got some products left, so we'll make another salad of the same thing. Our salad with apricot mousse is ready. Now we turn to the pearl of our dear New Year's table, Kamchatka crab. It is the most expensive of all the products we bought today. Our task is simply to cook it as tasty as possible in order to feel the pure taste of the king crab. Therefore, we take a large cauldron, fill it with salt water, and put it on to heat up. As soon as the water boils, we compactly collect the crab and lower it into boiling water head down so that it doesn't suffer. Cover with a lid and mark for exactly 20 minutes. After this time, the crab is ready. We'll wait until it cools down right in the salty water and put it onto a large tray. Our Kamchatka crab is ready. For the second salad, we take a gas burner and set it on fire. On the side, we thoroughly carbonize the Bulgarian pepper, because the burnt skin will easily come off with a knife. Thanks to the burner, the pulp now has a hazy flavor. We cut it up, and then slice it first into strips, and then into cubes. We take a pomelo and tear off the whole peel from it. Then we tear it in half and take out the clean pulp. We break it into pieces and throw it into a bowl as well. Now we'll cut our persimmon into cubes. The main thing is that it is ripe and sweet, but at the same time quite dense. Into the bowl, add the remaining crab meat. Cut the remaining lettuce from the greens. And add some spinach. For the dressing, we roll an orange to destroy its structure inside. We cut it, and now easily squeeze the juice out of it. Add a little bit of honey, a couple of spoonfuls of mustard seeds, salt, and mix. Now pour the dressing over the salad, and mix it up for the last time. We serve this in a beautiful salad bowl. The next thing we'll cook is a seafood. We open up the boiled octopus and cut it into convenient pieces for eating. And into the bowl. Here are some scallops, small squids, and tiger shrimps. Pour oyster sauce on top of them, and soy sauce instead of salt. Cut 1 chili pepper, throw it into the bowl, and knead everything with your hands. Let that marinate for 40 minutes, and in the meantime, we'll make the sauce. First, finely dice parsley. We'll need dried basil and dried garlic. We roll a lemon, cut it, and squeeze the juice through our hand. Now we just need olive oil, salt, and mix. We put the sauce in the middle of a large iron dish. Sprinkle the electric grill with oil. Spread out our marinated seafood. And close it. 1.5 minutes and they're ready. Now we put them onto the dish. And we fry this all up batch by batch. During the cooking, their juice accumulates, in which half of the taste of all of these delicacies. So we pour that into the saucepan. We're going to evaporate this so the taste becomes even richer and pour out sea reptiles on top. Decorate this all with lemon and rosemary. That's it, our seafood platter is ready. Now let's go to our New Year's drink. We take out the 6 bottles of wine. We open it up. We also need a large saucepan into which we pour all this wine. Also 6 bottles of pomegranate juice. Open it up and pour. And you're really gonna need some spices for this drink. We send in a lot of cinnamon, 4 stars of star anise, a handful of cardamom. Then we take some clementine and insert a clove inside it. We're left with a hedgehog like this. We're gonna throw that into the saucepan as well. Be sure to add sugar. And now we take the most New Year's of citrus fruits. We remove the zest from the oranges and clementines with a vegetable peeler. Eight fruits gave us so much zest that we send it all to the pan. Then we roll out some oranges, cut them, and squeeze out the juice. That's it, we're gonna put this all on the stove. Cover with the lid and throw in a thermometer. As soon as the temperature reaches 70 degrees, the mulled wine is ready, and we give it a brew. Now we're gonna serve it in such a huge glass. We put a sieve on and pour 12 liters of mulled wine through it. For decoration, we also cut oranges and tangerines and put them into the glass. Pop in a ladle and you're definitely ready. Now all we have left is the dessert. So we open up some dried strawberries and cut them into smaller pieces. Throw that into a bowl. Also add dried apricots, also cut. And into the bowl. Now we just pour in some raisins and cranberries. Pour dried fruits with expensive cognac on top. And they will gradually absorb it into themselves. In the meantime, we pour in some cashew nuts, pecans, Brazil nuts, and macadamia nuts onto the cutting board. All these nuts need to be cleaned. Now we open up the butter and send 350 grams into the mixer and whisk it. Add 350 grams of brown sugar and mix it again. Baking powder, vanilla, and add 350 grams of flour. And mix it all up. And while all this is being mixed, gradually break in 5 eggs. That's it, our dough's ready. Pour all of our nuts into it. Now we add the starch to the dried fruits and mix. This is necessary so that the moisture from the cognac does not soak our cupcake, so you can pour them into the dough now. And now we finally knead it with a spatula. We shift the dough into like a round form, which has a hole in the center. In another form, such a cupcake will not be baked. We level it and put it into the oven for 2 hours at 160 degrees. It's ready. Now we cut off the convex part from above, apply it to a plate, and turn it over. For the glaze, pour some powdered sugar into a bowl, squeeze out the lemon juice, and mix. The resulting glaze is carefully poured on top of the cake. It turns out really nicely. But for decoration, we also add sprigs of rosemary. Now we spread orange chips and fresh viburnum berries. We're left with a really beautiful bundt cake. Well, let's set the table now. That's it, we've finally prepared the most expensive New Year's table for $1,600. I think it turned out really cool. Let's try the seafood. It's very tasty, and you can taste the seafood itself, as well as the awesome marinade. Crab salad with persimmon and pomelo. It's very tasty with such a sweet orange dressing. Salad with apricot mousse. Perhaps the most unusual dressing for salad, and the aftertaste feels a little apricot-y. Bruschetta with crab. In my opinion, this is one of the best snacks you can think of. And the snail caviar is saltier than red and with a denser shell. Potato croquettes. This is some awesome stuff. It seems like you eat such a puree and then the taste of truffle appears and the taste changes dramatically. So, the meat that was cooked on the grill. It looks very juicy. And the taste is too. A very powerful taste of meat with the aroma of smoke. In general, like a good steak. Now the meat that was cooked in the oven. It's no longer pink inside as we have overexposed it a little. It's almost as soft, but that piece cooked on the grill is still tastier. We break up a crab leg and try it. This is probably the most delicious meat of all the crustaceans I've ever eaten. It's as juicy as possible. Let's cut a piece of cake. Here you can see that half of the cake is dried fruits and nuts. Hey everybody. Today we decided to cook a giant Skittle. Let's open the packet and see what it's made of. Inside there are a bunch of small candies. If we crush them, it becomes clear that there is a candy coating around a soft, chewy inside. Now let's buy everything we need to cook a giant Skittles. First up, you'll need a lot of sugar, a box of oil. We go to the produce section, and we take out quite a lot of lemons. We choose the largest and ripest watermelons and put them in the cart. We'll need a total of 7 watermelons. We pull up to the checkout with 2 carts full. We unload them. Our check came out to $162. In addition to this, we bought another 30 kilograms of glucose syrup. To make it easier to work with, we'll pour it into a large saucepan. I ordered something special for this video. These are semicircles made out of acrylic. They will serve as our huge Skittles mold. We fill the mold with oil and smear it around with a brush. Let's unroll the parchment paper. We make pretty deep cuts along the edges and carefully put it inside the mold. Thanks to the oil, the parchment sticks well to the mold. That way we cover up all the inside of the semicircle. Done! It turned out great. Now we put the saucepan on the scales. We put 150 grams of glucose syrup into it. And pour 350 grams of sugar into that. Now we pour in 100 milliliters of water. We put all this on the stove and cook the syrup. Be sure to use a thermometer. We need to wait until the temperature reaches 147 degrees Celsius. Done. Now let's squeeze a little purple food dye into a teaspoon and mix it into our candy coating. The acrylic molds don't really like changes in temperature, so to heat them up, we'll turn on really hot water and fill a bath. We lower the mold into the water, and only now do we pour in the candy coating. Yes, we'll be filling the mold for a long time, so we decided to make a double portion. So we'll be doing 2 equal saucepans at once. Put it on the stove. We cook up the mixture and add in the food coloring. Let's send the second mold into the bath. Pour the coating along the walls. Well, we cooked and molded the coating for 7 hours. At some point, it began to set crookedly. I had to gradually cover everything up. We returned the molds to the studio. We've already made the outer layer for the candy. Now all we need to do is make the insides. There are many different Skittles flavors. We decided to come up with our own: watermelon, To help out with this, we have a hefty mechanical press. We transfer the watermelons to the sink and wash them thoroughly. We put the clean watermelons in a huge bowl. We install a trough under the press and put a metal barrel on top. We take a watermelon, cut off the end, and then do the same to the other side. We prop it up vertically and remove the entirety of the green peel. Now all we have is the pulp. We throw it into the barrel. Cover the top of the metal disc. Take another watermelon and clean it the same way. We send this to the barrel too, and cover it as well. In advance, we substitute a 20-liter empty cylinder at the bottom and put a funnel into it. We begin to turn the screw. We make sure that it enters the groove of the metal disc. The juice is squeezed out very evenly. It goes into the trough and drains down into the container. We twist the press with all our might. 2 watermelons didn't give us enough juice, so we decided to peel 3 watermelons at once and cut each of them into pieces. We load them into the barrel and covering them with metal discs. Squeeze out the juice. We clean another watermelon. Squeeze the juice out of it too. Now we have almost a full container. But I want my Skittles to be sour. Let's squeeze the juice out of the lemons as well. First, we roll them with our hands on the table to loosen up the insides. Then we cut and squeeze the juice using our hands. All the juice will be sent through a sieve into the container. By the time we get to the studio, the juice has separated, and the red part was at the bottom. We decided to try it, and the taste hasn't really changed at all. I mean, real watermelon juice can be transparent. We shake the container well, and the color comes back. For the inside of the candy, we need 4 pots. We pour 150 milliliters of watermelon juice into each of them. Then 200 grams of glucose syrup, and 300 grams of sugar into each. We put all this onto the stove. Be sure to put a thermometer in one of the pots. The candy is boiling and you can't touch it at all. Just wait until it reaches 123 degrees. Open the butter. We cut it into small pieces. And one by one, send it into the pots, along with a teaspoon of white dye. Now we mix it up. The candy is ready. Just have to pour it into the molds. Oh, you have no idea how long we've been cooking all this. A day and a half. Finally, the molds are completely filled. Only a day later, the caramel completely cools down and becomes the desired soft consistency. Using a knife, we chip off the uneven edges of the candy. One half is covered with parchment. We put a board on top and turn it over. We remove the mold. Tear off the parchment. and turn over a candy half. The same should be done with the second one. Now, the most dangerous thing is to attach the two halves to each other. Then the worst thing imaginable happened. One half slipped and we heard a crunch, which really scared us. We were trying to connect the two halves, so we tear off the parchment and see the candy coating has split. We were really upset. Well, what can you do? We tried to at least save the filling. We transfer it into the mold. We'll have to redo the candy coating, but this time we'll do it differently. Again, we cover the mold with parchment. In the middle, we put a ring pasted with parchment. With the help of a hairdryer, we thoroughly warm up the mold. We cook the purple coating again, but something really scary happened here. At some point, the hot candy exploded with such a force that it knocked off the grate, splattered the ceiling, half of the studio, and got on my face. With serious burns and eye injuries, I was taken to the hospital by ambulance. If you want to see how my face looks now, then follow the link in the description to my Instagram. I should say right away, this isn't for the faint of heart. While I'm recovering, my dad will finish the Skittle. He pours the purple candy down the walls of the mold. He files the uneven edges. And turns it over to empty the mold. Then he tears off the parchment and takes out the ring in the middle. The edges of the lower half are now coated with the hot candy mixture. Now we connect the two halves very carefully and gently. Once again, we go around, connecting them at the crease. We take all the filling we managed to save. Using a knife, we cut off pieces from it. We fill our Skittle to the brim. And close it off from above. The joint is filled with the mixture. We just cut off the excess with a knife. Using a burner, we warm up our Skittle from the outside to melt small chips and sugary crumbs. On a piece of parchment, we draw the S logo. Now we melt white chocolate in a steam bath and fill it into a regular syringe. With its help, we first draw the outline of the letter, then fill in the inside. We wait for the chocolate to harden and transfer it to the candy. That's it! Our giant Skittle is finally ready. We spent a lot of money, time, and most of all, health on this experiment. If my dad hadn't helped me, we probably would have never finished this video. Our Skittle weighs in at 78 kilograms. Let's smash it. We'll try both parts at once, the candy coating and the filling.